All right, so we're back here on another Couch Coach Live once again. What's going on, Maui?
Chilling, man. Rushing to get here, rushing to, you know what I mean, forehead sweating, trying to get my information somewhat good for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, we got a definitely got a great show lined up for you
Yeah.
today. We got my guys. We got Tyler Ingram, 1/4 of the Four Horsemen of the Gauntlet. He'll be joining us as well as my Off the Ball Network brethren, Aaron B of Touchdowns and Tacos or Touchdowns and Tacos or Touchdown and Tacos podcast. I forgot which one goes first. I think it's Touchdowns or Tacos. But we'll get clarification for that as well. So we got them coming at the bottom of the hour. And then at the top of the hour, we got our guy DeShaun Tate of Tate's Take. Now you thought Couch Coach Live was a tongue twister. Say Tate's Take 3 times,
Right.
and I might give you a steak dinner. So if you can say that 3 times, well, more so of the strip club variety, the $6 T-bone steak meal, not no Root Chris, not steak 48, not any of that stuff. We're gonna give you more of a, we give you the the Daddy Rabbit's $8 steak dinner with that potato. if you can say Tate take 3
And
times
that
in a
Daddy
row.
Roberts is probably a cube steak. Would you say though?
Who knows? Yeah, I thought it was New York ribeye.
I don't know.
You tell me.
Hey, man, that was between me and you in confidence.
You tell me. I've graduated from that experience. I don't know if I'm ever go back to that school, but but we here.
Man,
Yeah. So
this month is a trip. This month is a trip because I'm doing ready for the show and I'm sitting here like, man, you got March Madness and you got free agency in the NFL. And in the free agency in the NFL, man, is almost like checking credit. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Because there's so many signings they don't talk about.
Yeah, and it's like a flurry of it. Like a lot of it,
Right.
like thank goodness for sites that have free agent tracker where
Right.
and looking at some stuff. It's just happened. Like you think about
Right.
it. Like we talked about it. When I did a format last night for the show. I mean, a lot of we talk about we'll talk about it at the bottom line with the fellas. But you look
Right.
at what happened, like even as we kind of in these last like 2 hours. So I mean, I ran some errands right before the show, and then come to
Right.
find out Von Miller's in Buffalo. Like,
Wow.
and it's just and Miles Jack is going to Pittsburgh, which we'll
Right.
talk about that at the bottom of the hour. But like a lot of stuff, it's just
So
it's
we
just going on this in a flurry of it. But yeah,
so we got some guests that's gonna put that information out there, man. Because I know my forehead had a vein in it. Like, man, this is too
yeah.
much information. So we got some guys that's experts in that
Yeah,
in that area.
right. Yeah. Obviously, when we talk about Tyler Ingram, he's
Mhm.
my NFL carousel brethren. He represents the Green
Okay.
Bay Packers, so he, we'll talk to him as well. Also, he's a part of the Gauntlet. They're a part of the Four Horsemen, so he's one
Okay.
fourth of the Four Horsemen. So we'll talk
Cool.
with him, and then my guy Aaron B, resident Cowboys guy.
Mhm.
We're boys, we're friends, we keep it cordial. We're
Mhm.
friends. But when it
Okay.
comes to those, when it comes to our teams, it's a little, but we're respectable. I've been on his
Right.
show previewing, we had, Washington, Dallas play. He's been on mine as well. So, hey, we keep it cordial. He's, a very classy guy.
Okay.
And we find similarities when it comes to food choices
Okay.
and somewhat of I don't have that love of a taco like he does, but I like a good taco. I mean, I'm not gonna front. I mean,
I'm more of a burrito man, but I got
yeah. Yeah, so
you.
we got a great show lined up for you. And also
Right.
at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, we'll also have DeShaun Tate of Tate's Take, and we'll preview the NCAA tournament. Like you said, I always say October is the best time of the year
Yeah.
because you got all the sports going on.
Right.
But this is kind of one. It's like this is 1A where you got free agency, like you said earlier, and then also the NCAA tournament where it's a point where it's a good thing and a bad thing, especially March can be heartbreaking in so many ways,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to the tournament. You'll see teams getting eliminated this weekend that we potentially thought was going to happen. We're going to have upsets. So it's going to be definitely a great week. So what we're going to do, we're going to kick that intro and we will be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we're back here on Couch Coach Live. Yes, indeed. So we're back at it once again. Definitely, Couch Coach Live is powered by the good folks at Goalie. Head over to goalie.com. Use our promo code Couch Coach. Get yourself 10% off at checkout. So once again, we got another great show lined up for you guys. And yeah, man, so we're here. So it's funny. So, obviously Monday was March 14th of 2022. And it's funny that, you can't, if you ever followed our journey, obviously, in the legacy, in their radio days, on March the 9th of 2018 was like our last episode on the network, because obviously we were, actually going on the road for a job. And, so Monday was the 4-year anniversary of taking that leap. So, for the fellas kind of, get in and we get some sports, we just, kind of talk a little bit about just that experience 4 years ago, pretty much to, today. And yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of the nightmare being in Waco, Texas. It was a nightmare. No, it was not all right. Don't short sell that.
Oh,
no, because matter of fact, what's today? Today's the 15th. Yeah, so it's today. No, yesterday was okay. So we went to Houston, and then so it was the 15th. Yeah, so yesterday, yeah, that's when we went to Waco, and it was a nightmare.
We wasn't even there.
You don't gotta be there.
You know what's crazy? The night before, you was in heaven. Well, you got up early, got you some cookies. We got there, got up early, went to the gym. You know what I mean? Yeah. You was good. And it's Waco changed you. Waco changed.
You gotta understand, like, let's okay, yeah.
Did you think I was nervous?
No, not really.
I was nervous as hell, B. I was nervous as hell for you. I was nervous as hell for me. I was walking through that door not knowing what to expect. And so when I saw Alex, you know what I'm saying? I was like, bet. You know what I mean? And then the next day I was still nervous, And then I think the first day we went to work, I saw Dennis. So that made me, that these are all dudes that I somewhat had a relationship the first time I went out. So it was all good,
But yeah, Waco was the worst, because you got people don't understand. We went to Waco. Now but prior to going on the road, I'm not gonna say like I was a hotel connoisseur, but I've been to hotels. We went to a hotel that only had one way in and one way out. First of all, that's scary. If something happens, you got to be leery of that type of stuff. That's traumatic. And then you got to think about it. We in somebody else's room that has already left, so we don't know. Now this is now. Let me preface that again. So yes, when you go to a hotel room, yes, you do follow behind somebody. But we're talking about this room was not clean. Like they literally rolled out of bed, packed their stuff, and we're supposed to be sleeping in the same. And I don't even know who what this person has or anything. I mean, not has, but just from a sanitary reason, it was a nightmare. It really was a nightmare because Houston is like when we went to Houston was nice. LA in the South was nice, but then you go from there and then you go to Waco, and you're like,
Okay,
what
you
in the
making them seem like
hell
you
is
was in
going
Waco. We
on?
wasn't in Waco long, and then we went to a
But at
Killeen
night,
next. Yeah.
regardless, 2 seconds, 5 seconds a day, 24 hours, 12 hours. That still was the worst experience. If it won't that
Uh-huh.
or like Tupelo, Mississippi.
So, but I would never, throw that time away. You know what I mean? We were so blessed to be able to do that, man.
Yeah,
We was everything that good and bad, bro. Like
yeah,
it was the best thing ever. Like I don't even want to put you out there like that, but you couldn't even really parallel park. You remember when we was at
yeah,
the sports
mhm,
bar and I was
yeah,
trying to show you how to parallel park, and I don't think you have an issue with probably driving at all in now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Straight confidence. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And truth be told, man, it's the same with me when I first went on the road. Like I've been traveling on the road, probably almost my whole life, but that showed me how to drive. Like even if we
yeah,
was in those small cars, it still showed me how to drive a box truck. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And things of that nature. But I miss a lot of people on that road. I miss everybody, but I miss a lot of people on that road. And then you don't even realize how blessed you are because of how much money you really are making, and
yeah,
then the experiences that you're going through. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like people don't even understand this is a beautiful country.
yeah,
Really is, man. It's a beautiful
yeah,
country and got actually some beautiful people. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And if you never have a chance to really see it, you're really doing your disservice because we live in America and you know you can move like what I mean. Like I felt
yeah,
like we were seeing the history of this country the way we with some of the stuff that we saw. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I went through it for the world, man. Really wasn't.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Like, just being able to see the world, like, not the world, but more for the United States, where
Yeah,
a lot of places I wouldn't have went. Like, I think about Butte, Montana, Spokane, Washington,
that's
places,
okay.
Salt Lake
Washington.
City,
Yeah,
Utah, and
man.
Carolina Beach, North Carolina, Wilmington,
Yeah.
North Carolina. Like a lot of places I went. You think
Mm.
just like you said, I found
Oh,
beauty in all of it. I found like,
once you went to North Carolina, you was big boss though. You know, say you like that was your fight. That was your victory drive right there.
that was fun.
You
Yeah,
know
it
what I
was just
mean?
and the thing
Yeah.
about it, I think a lot of that too. I think I say on North Carolina. I think that was the time where I needed the reflection. It was a great time
Right.
just to reflect. I didn't have the best relationship with my roommate at that particular time. So it gave me an opportunity. No, so what? But I'm just serious. So it forced me to kind of go outside, go, kind of be by yourself, just do your own thing because obviously I didn't want to be around that individual. Just keep it a buck. And he probably feel the same way about me too. So it's no love lost. I mean, hey, I respect the guy and all, but we just didn't get along. I just put that
It,
way.
it,
We just had a fundamental disagreement, which but we were respectable about it.
it was so strange because there's some people that you probably would never talk to or chill with at all. Just like when we was in South Dakota and that guy went crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to my guy. Yeah, yeah.
You
And
know
he
what I
used
mean?
to
And
be
he
my
was
little.
actually cool.
He was cool. He used to take me to Walmart all the time.
Yeah, he
So,
was actually
I mean, that
cool,
was
and
my
he just
boy. Yeah, that was my boy. I
just
liked it.
lost it, man. And
Yeah, he was cool.
um, what was one of the coolest time? My man down, well, and when we was in Memphis, and he took me to get my tattoo. Like I would never
Yeah,
forget that because it was it looked like a hotel. And then when he took me, I was like, yo,
yeah,
I'm gonna get robbed in this junk. I know something gonna happen. So mentally, I'm already getting
yeah.
mentally ready to probably throw my hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And walk through that door, that curtain, and he had the whole thing set up like a tattoo parlor. That was crazy. Straight professional,
yeah,
everything clean,
yeah,
and a lot of things I learned from that too is looks is deceiving. You think this, and then little do you know it ain't what you think it is. What was
yeah.
one of the craziest time you had when you was on the road besides
Um,
Waco?
you mean as far as good crazy or bad crazy? Like I just want to
Whatever,
make sure.
whatever.
Um, what I can think of that was I think just the whole thing of like I think the biggest thing was Memphis. I think that was kind of one of the places where we really like was in the inner city, and you really like the underbelly of of a city. Because we really didn't go to a lot of big cities. Because obviously with us being in Richmond, we know like there's downtown area, and then you're like almost a stone throw away from the hood. So I'm used to that, but not like how we were, like because obviously shout out to our guy Lamar. Like we went to Bill Street one night and just chilling, hanging out, and then we end up being in that area the next day, and then we right down the street, and it's like the hood, and you just seeing just a lot of despair. You seeing young people out here with like yellow eyes. It was like a zombie town, and this means it made Petersburg look like Memphis made Petersburg look like Beverly Hills. I'm serious. I mean, it literally made Petersburg, Virginia look like Rodeo Drive.
Hey man,
Beverly Hills.
You stretching that out too much. You Richmond dudes gonna have to stop doing that, man.
Bro, I've never
look down on Petersburg.
No, it's more so of a because people be thinking Petersburg is bad. No, go to Memphis. Every house that we went to, like even like abandoned houses, everybody had tires in their backyard. They're spooky. And it's like I almost wanted to Google that and be like what is if someone has a flat tire in their house in their backyard, what does that mean? I'm serious, bro. You think about it, and what we was driving in them cars, and like as far as from a and like we literally in the hood, like we in the riding around abandoned houses.
If you didn't pay attention, like I remember, because we had to constantly keep going around the blocks. Police do that. When they go in neighborhoods, they hit those blocks a lot. So we would hit the same blocks a lot. And I'm telling you, they was watching. I remember asking those type of questions when we was in training, like about that. Like, man, we got to go to and some of them hoods are legendary. They in all the rap songs. They legendary, but you just got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
And then another crazy one was Mississippi. Like I remember we were driving one time, and you know how like all neighborhoods, like like in neighborhoods, you see flags, but like every house in like it's one of the subdivision, but it's just like like them old school houses. Everybody had a Confederate flag, and we're just like, what on earth is this? I mean, we all know it's it's the South, it's the South, but you're like, my goodness, like this is crazy.
I seen those flags in Pennsylvania, and when I got to a bar, I had to investigate because I was like, why do y'all have these flags up here? And they was like, they couldn't even answer. So I was like, you do know people of the South think that that's very, very wrong. You know what I mean? They will be very upset that y'all got those flags up here and you're not from here. You know what I mean? They will call you ignorant, like But I don't know. Me going to Spokane and then going to Chill. I think his name was Chill at Larry's or something like that. He was the first African American barbershop in Spokane. And then I got my hair braided at Ebony and Ivory, which was by a white woman. And then I learned about that young lady who tried to make herself legally white. Chill at Larry's was in that documentary.
Dollars Eye.
And right. And then he liked me because we was talking history. He had I think what I got from him, he's very like disappointed on the young black man because he said he got he's been there since '68. So he got that revolutionary type of spirit. And he said he had all these books, but nobody goes over there and read them except for different races, but not blacks. He said most of the black dudes that came in there was trying to crip or have gold in and blah, blah, blah. But legendary icon in that area, and then I remember I walked to 7-Eleven because I hadn't seen a 7-Eleven in like 2-3 months. So I walked down there and didn't realize it was 8 blocks from the hotel. And then I didn't realize we was in like an area where you shouldn't really be walking unless you're from there. So I'm carrying a quarter pounder, a hot dog, another this Slurpee, anything, nachos, and walk back. And I didn't realize that Spokane has so many homeless kids. That's what I was getting to. Like it's a big. Remember we went to My Pizza, and when we went downtown, and when I was like, wow, I didn't know. So even for us, a lot of those states had legalize marijuana. But one thing they're not telling people is how it's so many young people that are homeless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But,
So
hey man, we got to move on. So I'm gonna go ahead and raise this glass real quick and say I appreciate you, and I'm happy that I went with you, man. I'm proud of you and all that other good stuff.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Same to you, brother.
Yeah, I love you, bro.
I love you too, man. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get the fellas in here. All right. What's going on? What's going on, Tyler?
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? What's going on, Aaron?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, fellas?
Sure.
Yo. So today is, I guess we can consider today is the first legal day of NFL free agency. I guess we can say that because I know there was tampering for 2 days. Well, legal tampering. We all know tampering's been going on since the since the Super Bowl, really, probably beforehand, but yeah. So we got some some great topics to talk about for the NFL free agency. So first, we got to talk about, I figured by the time we got on air today, DeShaun Watson would be somewhere, but obviously at the current moment, he's not. But, I will pull an Adam Schefter if we find out some news. So if I be on
okay. All right. Right on. Right on. I was going to say, do I got to keep refreshing while we're doing this? Because,
I
got my phone too.
Yeah. I know, because like you said, we don't know, because we were talking earlier in the show. I just ran up the street to get like a 10-minute drive, and then come to find out Von Miller went to Buffalo, and I'm like, see, it's just just everything can just happen in the drop of a head. So let's talk about Desean Watson. So obviously he spoke with the Panthers, Saints, Browns, and he talked to the Falcons today. So pretty much wrapping up his I guess you could consider his free agency tour, even though he gonna get traded. I think that's kind of interesting. So, fellas, I'm gonna go around the horn. What do you see Desean Watson playing in 2022? I'm gonna go with you first, Tyler.
Wow, man. Gonna go with me first on like the toughest question here.
right. It's $1 million question.
Because I swear, it started and I was thinking, all right, he's going back to Carolina. They're gonna have the best package. I think he's gonna waive his clause because he played at Clemson. He's going back home, and then all of a sudden they were like, all right, the Saints are interested, and then Atlanta. So now he's determined between Atlanta and New Orleans. He just met with Cleveland yesterday. And I think it's Atlanta just by his body language kind of right now for some reason. I just think it's I don't think he should. I think that's where I think that's the worst position, like the worst spot for him to go personally. That's how I feel, but I feel like Atlanta is going to get him. That's where I feel.
Okay. What you got, Aaron?
I actually got the other team in the NFC South. I got them going with the Saints. Like the Saints would be a better option, like you were saying, than the Atlanta. What does Atlanta Falcons really have for what Desean Watson needs to be a great quarterback? On the other side, you got a really good defense with the Saints. Hopefully, you can have Michael Thomas, and I don't know the situation with Alvin Kamara and all that stuff, but overall, this team's a lot better for him. But we'll see. Maybe it is the Saints, maybe it is the Falcons, but I'm going with the Saints one on this one.
Yeah. What you got, Maui?
Man, I don't have much, but I know I'm from Akron, Ohio. I know my family called me the last 2 days, and they was like, "Boy, if we don't get Desean Watson, it's over." Like, we got. They was sitting there like, "What? I think that's gonna happen. I don't think they're gonna pay Baker." He was like, "They better throw everything to Desean Watson, get Watson here." You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I felt like for the last few years, that's what they wanted. I don't think they ever, don't y'all think that's the only piece the Browns is missing is a quarterback?
For the most part.
Yeah.
So if they'd have had, if you think they've had
one more receiver, probably grab one more receiver.
Yeah. If they'd have had, you think if they'd have had Desean Watson the last 2-3 years, you think they'd have went farther?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that's probably why Baker. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I just know they out there like, man, get rid of him, and go get Desean right now. I'm telling you right now, But anyway, that I'm gonna say Cleveland.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm part of you. I'm leaning towards Cleveland as well because I'm thinking, from what I was told, that Baker might generate a number one, a first round pick if he goes to Indy. So then you add that coupled with the compensation that I think Cleveland can give, and they can couple that potentially 2 first round picks, in this year's draft. So Cleveland looks like it's going to be might be the odds on favorite, but like you said, I part of me is like I found it very interesting that he met with Atlanta. And like to me, I figured like because you think to yourself, what really asset that they can really give on the Falcons end. So you think to yourself like, okay, because we all know Houston's not going to absorb Matt Ryan's contract. We know that for a fact. He's not going to, So I think it just makes more sense. I think maybe Cleveland, because at least I think they could get something for Baker Mayfield and put that in a package as well. So, because I think like for Big, I think he's pretty much I think more likely he'll be going to Indy. And if they do, they might have to cough up a first or a second round pick for him. Probably more likely a first. But I just found it interesting at Atlanta. Like Atlanta's like seeing like this that dark horse. It's almost like he might be leaning towards going there because obviously, like that's his home, hometown. Because he's from Georgia. So I'm leaning towards either Cleveland or Atlanta. I think that's where it's kind of like, But
I'm shocked about the Saints. I thought they was trying to just keep everything in house.
Well, then you think about it, how about it? Really, they get
Right.
Jameis, and then I don't know what they're gonna do with Taysom Hill, like, because I mean,
That's a big question.
Yeah, it looks horrible. It looks horrible, but you know what I mean. But from what I had heard, they really wouldn't. And I was like, when you said Saints, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. You know what I mean?
But it's very interesting of that. So one of the reasons why we, Cleveland potentially is last night, which it was very weird, and it's funny, when I talked to you fellas yesterday, and it was like, because I think I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I'm like, why is Baker Mayfield leaving like this 4-page internet letter on his on his social media thinking Cleveland? Like, okay, it's like, what happened? Like, because like we talk about free agency, it's like you said, you really got to refresh it, because like all of a sudden I'm seeing him posting a letter talking about thank you Cleveland and about his uncertainty. I'm thinking to myself, I thought Desean Watson was meeting with Atlanta tomorrow, which is today, and I was like, what is going on? Like, is this something where it's like, are you telling us like a context clue? Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, does he know something that we don't know? And that's how I felt. And obviously, he sent a letter pretty much thanking the city of Cleveland and a lot of stuff, just saying, he thankful for the people who embraced him and what have you. So I'm gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna go with you first, Aaron. Your thoughts on Baker Mayfield's social media goodbye? I mean, essentially to Cleveland.
Man, honestly, it's just been an interesting free agency, what is going on type of deal. Like, you get a 4-page essay saying that I'm about to leave and go to leaving Cleveland. So what's going on is like, what? So I don't know what's going to happen between Thursday and Friday, but I'm just lost for words when it comes to that. Like, but honestly, I think he's going to the Colts, to be honest.
I think so too. Yeah. What you got, Tyler?
So I went to high school in Canton, Ohio, as an FYI.
I'm from Akron.
Yeah, that's right. You're from Akron.
That's right. Right.
So like I went to Canton Glen Oak. That was my high school. So everyone was Browns fans, where I was born in Illinois but moved there in high school, and everyone was Browns fans. I think this is so interesting because they're going all in on Watson, and like today they said that they needed an adult at the quarterback position. That's what they said today. So like they're just like rubbing salt in Baker's wound a little bit, like he's already, he already said that he didn't know anything of them even talking to Watson. So they blindsided him. And then they said, we need an adult at quarterback. So like, man, And I feel for him because like he was hurt last season. Everyone kept saying he was garbage when he was playing hurt all last season. He went to the playoffs the year before and beat Pittsburgh. Like, you know what I mean? They beat him in back-to-back weeks, you know? So I feel for Baker on this. But yeah, Baker also stated that he prefers Indianapolis. So that would be the destination I think he would go to if he is traded. At this point, I think he is traded. I mean, I don't know how you can obviously write amends with this, but this could blow up in the Browns' face if they don't get Watson, because then all of a sudden you're scrambling to get a quarterback, and you got what, Jimmy G, Jameis Winston. Do you trade the Packers, my squad, for Jordan Love? I mean, I don't know. That would also look bad too when you go out there and you state that you need an adult at quarterback, and then you take a younger quarterback too. So that's my thoughts on it. I think he goes to Indianapolis as well, though.
Yeah, and like you said, I was like, you know, that just perplexes me. That's just so weird. I mean, you better get Cal Laletta, my guy from the University of Richmond. So,
yeah, right.
I think I don't know if he's still on the roster. Now I think one of the guys that end up getting COVID during the season.
They still have Keenum.
Oh yeah, they got Case Keenum. Yeah, they got Case Keenum and then Cal Laletta.
Boy. They might have to run with him.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
My Canton brother, I'm with you on that. You know, I love compassion. You know, he was hurt, and I give you all of that. But you know what? On the other side is, I think and for the Browns, I think he's exactly where he's not going to go any further. Like, he'd probably be a first-round playoff. I'm being nice because I really want to say it's time for him to go because they gave him everything. And look at what he just did. That was his problem, too. Him and his wife tend to always want to go to social media and put their thoughts and this, and that. You're sitting there stanking up to play. Well, you're not doing well, and then your commercials come up. And it's like almost... You know, and the Browns fans has been going through the same thing. They have everything. They got defense is good, receivers, running backs. They got what they need. They just had issues at the quarterback. So, and you're right. If they're gonna put everything out there for Watson, they don't get it. Well, from my standpoint, I'm like, well, it's the Cleveland Browns. That's what they do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they just horrible poker players. You know, it is what it is. You know, but if I was Baker, I would want to leave. You know what I mean? Because I think I want to have a fresh start. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many coaches has he had there? He's had 3, right? It's a lot of people that's been fired because, and his name is somewhere in there. You know what I mean? Because of reasons why they got fired. It's been so much drama with that Cleveland Browns team since he's been there. I mean, if you really look, remember the issues they had with the Browns. It may not all be his fault, but when you're a leader of a team, that type of stuff happens. You know what I mean? He has that. It comes when you have that type of burning. Like, remember when he went to the Bengals and he pointed to the coach that was his ex-coach?
Yeah, Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, you know, I'm just saying. The adult. That's the adult part. You see what I'm saying? That's the adult part. If you really want to win,
OBJ, I'm with you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and then like OBJ goes to the Rams. If he wouldn't have got hurt, he might have been the MVP of the Super Bowl. That makes him look some type of way. You know what I mean? But you're right, he was hurt. But I don't give a damn where he go. I hope he leaves. Now, actually, let's keep. I'm a Steeler fan, so let's keep him right there because we owe him. We owe him. No, I'm just kidding. If he goes, I was hoping he was going to the Commanders. I'm not going to lie to you.
No,
I was so hoping he was going to the Commanders.
Hey, I would have took him. I mean,
I know.
Like to me, like you said, this whole Baker Mayfield slander to me is perplexing because I think to myself, 5 years ago this team was 0-16. Like, are you serious? Like, you gotta like. You gotta crawl before you walk, and this man led you to a playoff win against. And I always say the exorcism was over. Like, name a Browns quarterback that went to Pittsburgh and beat him in a playoff game. Nobody.
Bernie Kosar.
Did he?
I was hoping so. Don't do that.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, I'm just saying, I didn't know. I'm like,
that,
Bernie
man.
won in Pittsburgh. I'm like, and they got a statue in Cleveland for him.
Yeah, I was like trying to think too. I was like, the last one was when Pittsburgh beat him with Tommy Maddox. I know that.
Right. But I'm thinking to myself, if Bernie Kosar went to, he'd be in your backyard, Tyler in Canton with a bus. If he would have went out to Pittsburgh back in them days, and he'd been in Canton for sure. But but I ain't having for a second. I'm like, Bernie won. I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna preface this before we start. Aaron, you know us. We boys, but when it comes to matters of the heart. I'm sorry, but thank God the Taylor Heineke killer is gone out of Dallas. So
true.
So
true.
I'm gonna go with you first, Aaron. So your thoughts on, because Randy Gregory, which is weird. So he signed. He was gonna sign with Dallas. He said something was wrong with the contract, the language of the contract, and they come to find out. It's the same language in the Denver contract, and for the same amount. So, your thoughts on Randy Gregory going to Denver?
Apparently, when it comes to that, Denver was more lenient on the language than Dallas. Dallas was kind of sticking to it, and then they come the next day in the morning and say, "Oh, is there still a chance you can come back to Dallas?" No, this man's already probably packed his bags up to Denver and stuff like that. Like, there should have been already talked about it and everything, but they're like, "Oh, he really is going to Denver." But when it comes to when it comes to free agency today, there's no urgency trying to look for an edge and stuff like that when it comes to Dallas. But when it comes to Denver, they got a good signing. They end up winning and getting Randy Gregory, and then you add on to Russell Wilson and all that stuff. So it's a big plus. I was up when I first heard this. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. We got Malik Hooker for cheap, and then we get Randy. I'm like, okay, Dallas is doing something. Next thing you know, 90 minutes later, he's going up to Denver. I'm like, what? And then for the same price. And then language started popping up. I'm like, language? I'm like, then I was reading it. So I'm like, oh. And then to top it off worse, you got they said they didn't give it to Dak. He's the only one that didn't get the language. So I was like, okay, Dallas, y'all piece of work, huh?
Right. Tyler, your thoughts on Randy Gregory?
It feels like DeAndre Jordan, right? That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like you sign and then you go back, and then like later, even your boy on the Commanders, he signed earlier, and then he decided, nope, I'm going to come back. McKissick stays.
Yes,
So it's really weird what we're doing here. This flippy floppy stuff right now amongst all these athletes. It's good for Denver. I mean, Denver's loading up. They already have a pretty good defense. Then you add Russell. You add Russell there. So, they're in a good situation. My only thing is with Denver is you're loading up, but you are loading up in a very, very competitive division. You look at what the Chargers have done this offseason. I mean, the Chiefs, even the Chiefs losing guys on their defense, they're still going to be there because they're well coached and they have a Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, so they'll be fine. But yeah, I wonder if they're going to put themselves in a hole, because if Denver does not win, the Super Bowl in this window they have right now in the next like 2 or 3 years, I think they're going to put themselves, in cap hell, honestly, in a couple of years down the road. And I mean, that's what the Packers my team has had to deal with this whole, off season. I mean, they kept Rodgers, but today it exhausted like everything, restructuring deal after deal just to get under the cap limit, because today was the last day. So it's only so long you can just kick that can down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Your thoughts, Maui?
Well, I was hoping that one of you guys could elaborate on the fine wordage that was in it, because it seemed like to me it was dealing with maybe being like maybe smoking marijuana
or language.
that was a language, right? You know what I'm
Yeah, that was the
saying?
main
Like
language.
that was the main language. And do you think that you being a Cowboy, do you think that they still think, we the Cowboys? So just you being a part of being a Cowboy should be just enough. You lucky you getting this money. You think they step with that arrogance when they dealing with a player?
Oh yeah, that's the language, and they already had a video with DeMarcus Lawrence. They offered him a 1-year, $10 million, and they're like, "Oh, we're the Cowboys. He's gonna sign for a hometown discount."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, "No, I got to feed my family." That's the language.
Yeah.
That's the words he used, and it's like you got to basically threaten the Jones family to get a contract out. But if you're kind of
Right.
playing Mr. Nice Guy, they're gonna be adding stuff on a piece of paper or whatever on the contract and say, "Oh, you had problems with a substance abuse. If you do this again, we're not going to give you your guaranteed money." So I understand
Right.
why Gregory wanted to leave.
Yeah, and I heard that, and I was hoping, I appreciate that you would talk more about it, because I was like, oh, and then he was like, man, I'm going to Denver because they don't, hey, you don't do that no more. Let me get a brownie though, the ones with the marshmallows and stuff like that. Make sure you bring that next time you come in. They got 2 for what? For real? Hey man, don't tell nobody. I'm gonna go by there later. But I appreciate that, man. You know what though? I'm gonna be honest with you. They have to change that, because it seems like these younger players are starting to, which I actually like, they're starting to be more business minded, especially when now they're starting to have their own podcasts. Like, I'm looking, and you got some of these guys just doing Facebook lives and interviewing people. That's all, that person, that's their brand. So they're also being a part of your team. That all comes together. So they've been a lot more business mind. So I really am proud of him, appreciate him being able to do that. Let me be comfortable. Then I got to be walking on eggshells, wondering if I'm going to lose money or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. I hate that he did that sneaky stuff though, but I appreciate him for doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, the Taylor Heineke killer is gone, so I'm relieved. I'm not gonna lie. So I mean,
You should have hit him on Twitter and said it's legal in DC too.
But yeah, that's another guy. You like, that's another tough loss on their defense.
Mhm.
You lose a guy like that. But yeah, like you said, Denver is that's another nice acquisition for them. Obviously, coupled with Russell Wilson going there as well. Like you said, they do have a short window, and especially in the AFC West, where at this point there's no slouches when it comes to offense and defense. So it's going to be a competitive vision, and it's going to be a battle of the fittest, honestly. So yeah, yep. So fellas, let's go. Let's see what we got next. All right, so we got some sleeper free agent pickups that you loved or hated. I know for me personally, it's none that I necessarily hated, but it was tons that I loved. So we'll just go around the horn. What's just some sleeper free agent move that you loved and or hated, or if you just loved? I'm gonna go with you first. Tyler, what you got?
Okay. There's actually a few. But I will just say I'll just go 1 and 1. That way, maybe you guys can fill in the gaps there, since there's been so many. I like the J.C. Jackson signing from the Chargers, because you get an all pro cornerback on that team after you trade for Khalil Mack. You go out there and you get another all pro. I like what the Chargers did in general this offseason. They went out and spent money. They understood that the Broncos made that big splash. They said, no, we're gonna stay competitive for Herbie, so we're gonna go out there and we're gonna get a defense, so he's not gonna have to, play hero ball on offense to win. They got Eckler coming back. Eckler's so great. You re-signed Mike Williams. You might have spent a little too much, but that leads me to the second one I hate. And the one I hate is I hate the Kirk deal. Like, I'm happy for him going to the Jaguars, but they overspent. And as a Packers fan, this is bad for me, right? Because now, guess what? Devontae Adams going, you guys are going to offer me 23? Nah, I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So the Packers really, I thought he was going to come back on a discount after Rodgers resigned. But that Kirk deal really put a wrench in things. So as a Packers fan, I have to say I hate that deal, because he screwed it up for us, man.
Trust me, we got up. I felt the same way with Terry. I'm like, oh Lord, the price went up. So, what you got, Aaron?
For my sleeper, one of them is actually a former Packers, Darius Smith, going to Baltimore, adding that got good edge rusher on there. That's what they were looking at in the draft, but they don't have to worry about that now. You got a 10-sack guy who's in the past 3 years has been averaging over 10 sacks. If it weren't for last year,
just gotta stay healthy, man. That's it.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy, he's good. And then my other sleeper is actually Jordan Hicks from Minnesota. They got for a 2-year, $10 million to put right next to Kendricks. But you just said my most hated contract was the Christian Kirk. I like he's a good receiver, but he's not top epsilon receiver where you're paying 72 to 80 some million for 4 years. But you gotta then I look at it, it's in Jacksonville. Like they gotta up the price for people to come to Jacksonville. So
yeah. Right. Yeah. What you got, Maui?
Oh man, I kind of guessed, you know what I'm saying, when it came to this stuff. You guys are the experts when it comes to this, because I was lost and confused. I was like, well, damn, look how many people they signing. This shit crazy. I thought it was the stock market. I was like, okay, but you know what I mean? I was like, honestly, what I felt like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You ever went to a place and you gotta make your own plate? And you sitting here, you ever done that before? And they be like, okay, you got the crab legs, and they was like, well, if you get everything, it's like $112 or something like that. So you're like, okay, well, let me take that off. And I felt like I was a GM, like, okay, I'm spending too much money
on that alley.
Right, I'm spending too much money for this star when I could go mess around and get 2 receivers and get a mediocre kind of a quarterback. Like, it was so damn stressful. I'm not even gonna lie, but I don't like embarrassing coach. So, all right. For the sleeper, I put Cedric Wilson, because Tua is still gonna be the quarterback, right? So I felt like so I felt like, veteran guy, he's been there. So I felt like they got him for the cheap. I thought that was decent. You know what I'm saying? And I also put Tyrod Taylor for the Giants. I mean, come on, y'all. Give Tyrod a chance. Okay. Give Tyrod a chance. Where Fitzpatrick at? Is he still out there? Huh? Thank God the coach. I'm making a joke because me and Chris talk about this stuff all the time. This dude, him, who else? Fitzpatrick, and who was the other dude?
Another guy,
Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean? Them dudes are thoughts. I mean, let's just be honest. They all over the place. They everybody done mess with.
Where did Teddy go again?
Miami. Yeah, he went to Miami. Yeah. Which I thought that was pretty good also. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm making a joke, but it seemed like there's a market for those guys. Like, even though they can't stay with a team, it just seemed like, you know what, I could still maybe get some gains, some consistency from them. They're just not a starter. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're just not a starter. Like, if you get a young quarterback, it seemed like, and I was talking all day about that. I was like, I told my like Kirk Cousins. Like, they gave him an extension, you know what I mean? And I was like, he got a year, but I said, if there ever was a person that made a lot of money in the NFL, that's like a overachieving second string quarterback, because that's, to me, that's really, he really is Kirk Cousins. I know, Coach, he's one of your favorites.
Kirk Cousins, yeah.
I know you love him, but you know what I mean? And I was like, that was pretty smart from his standpoint to go ahead and just get an additional year. But that's where I'm at. I didn't really have too many. I hate. I seen the Steelers did something, but I'm gonna see how they're gonna do everything. But I got Kirk Cousins. I got Cedric. I got Tyrod. And you're a Packer fan, right? So what do you think about Campbell getting signed? Are you happy with that?
I love it. But here's the thing. I felt bad giving him that because I thought he deserved a lot more money after you have because last year he played on a $2 million contract. So he becomes an all-pro at his position, the first time since Ray Nitschke for years and years and years ago. And then all of a sudden they only give him $10 million a season. I'm stoked he's back because he's a great player. But I do feel like we kind of lowballed him, to be honest.
Really?
But, hey.
Well, so you feel like he could have got more? I thought that maybe he left some money on the table just because he wanted to make sure that he was there.
Yeah,
it seemed
I think he wanted to stay with the Packers. I think if he wanted to make the money, he would have just waited for Jacksonville to call because they were spending money they were spending that stimulus check. It was burning a hole in their pocket, bro. So they were spending. Right. One more that I want to add on the hated list before you go, Coach, real quick, is I don't like this Von Miller deal. And this is why. This is why. Because he's 32 years old and you give him a 6-year contract like that. We don't know where he's going to be in 6 years. And now it puts even more pressure on Buffalo because if they don't win it in this next 2 or 3 seasons where their window theoretically is with Von Miller, I don't like that contract. I think you gave him way too much money, man.
Yeah. So the sleeper free agent move that I loved, and I got 2, and they went to they're at the same team. Mitchell, Joe Montana Trubisky, the pride of in your backyard, Tyler, in Mentor, Ohio, by way of University of North Carolina. I actually low-key like this move for him. I think being in Matt Canada's offense, I think he's going to be good in his offense. If he definitely survived the Big Ben 10 years. So I think he got a guy now, obviously better arm, obviously can maneuver in and out the pocket. I think he's going to get a good chance, a solid chance. I think Matt Nagy I look at that as incomplete, even with the success that the Bears had in the sense, I think he was a part of that. I mean, even though a lot of that Bears team was really more so they just had those turnovers. The turnover margin was they got a lot of off turnovers. But I think he's going to be a solid contributor, especially you look at the offense that they had last year where they really couldn't move the ball past 10 yards. Essentially with Big Ben throwing the football. So now I think you get that situation. I think he went to the right scenario. Obviously, we talked about Mike Tomlin as his head coach, and also you got Matt Canada as OC. So I think that's going to be perfect for him. And I think he's going to have, I'll call it a career renaissance. And then the sleeper one, Miles Jack going to Pittsburgh. I love that, especially now with with Brian Flores as a linebackers coach. And I'm like, ooh. I think he's the kind of guy. I think he's gonna it's gonna be really interesting. And like Miles Jack was Jacksonville's leading, the leading tackler. So and that's one thing where we they spending money and it's nobody's business. But then you get rid of a guy like a Miles Jack. So so you look at that. I think he will be perfect in that scenario. I definitely love that move. The hate. Like you said, I don't necessarily hate it, but it's just one of those things where it's like we talked about it earlier. When you see a guy get especially from a wide receiver, the price goes up because now, like you said, you see why Devontae said, "I don't want to play for no franchise." When I got somebody like a Christian Kirk who's sitting here getting $72 million,
and they even offered him 23 yesterday, and he said, "Nope, I ain't doing that either." Ooh. He's trying to get 30. Someone's gonna give him weight. That's the problem. $30 million is oh my goodness, that's bleeding you, man. Bleeding you.
And I'm crying about Carson Wentz paying him $28.5.
Yeah, that ain't good. I got to be honest. I didn't want to comment on that because I know this is your show and you're having a good day, so I didn't want to comment on that. But man,
last week we went in.
I didn't like it. I thought Washington should have just stayed put. I thought they should have probably drafted a quarterback because even though I hate this quarterback class in the draft, I hate it. But still, you take a flyer on someone like that and you try and build around Heineke or something.
And I'd have been cool with either Tank for Bryce or Tank for CJ, because I think those are kind of two guys. I think because I'd be willing to have another bad year. I mean, once one bad year compared to 30 bad years. So
it's just you guys know what I'm saying when I say this. Carson Wentz has no ceiling anymore. He's already peaked. We've already seen the best Carson Wentz, so we already know what we're getting with Carson Wentz.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was really
It was unfortunate.
Don't get it. Don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
And this is like, and even you look at even now with the quarterback market now, I mean, you still could have got somebody. Like, so it was really no, and I'm just like, what did they feed you? What did they like? What did they like? And then the fact that the Colts don't have to absorb any of that contract, they literally scot free from that.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, the Colts are big winners in this. Colts are big winners in this.
Because now they straight like a Baker Mayfield. If they want Baker, they can, I know one time people were saying that Marcus Mariota might be in play, but I'm just like, but hey.
Now they're injury prone. Yeah.
His own. But so fellas, round out our free agent talk. So who was the biggest winners and losers of free agency? I'm gonna go with you first, Aaron. Who's your biggest winners and losers?
My biggest winners are the LA Chargers, who went full gung ho, got 2 defensive tackles in Day and Johnson, and then you got a trade in for Khalil Mack, and then let me see. Oh, you got J.C. Jackson. That I want to see what he does outside of the New England Patriots defensive scheme. But I think he's still a good corner, but I want to see what he can do outside of that scheme. And my other winner, of course, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing back Tom Brady. And then you get Russell Gage back. And then you get Jensen back. And then you bring in a trade Shaq Mason. Man. Yeah. And then for my losers, it's one behind me right there.
Yeah.
Ain't doing a damn thing.
Next season, they're losers.
I knew to keep it at it.
All season, preseason, regular season, playoffs. Let me stop.
Let's go to the next person. I'm not going on a tangent with them.
It's all good, brother. What you got, Tyler?
Oh, so there could be a few. I do like what Pittsburgh did, and they're taking a chance on Mitch Trubisky. That's his new name, Mitch Trubisky. But I actually think it's the Chargers too. I think the Chargers won this offseason. I like what the pieces that they did. They keep Herbert. They didn't have to give up a lot. So guess what? The Chargers get to go into this draft with a lot of draft picks. You're putting Khalil Mack on, like, people are like, Khalil Mack's kind of, he's kind of peaked. He's getting older, and it's like, he's going to be on the other side of Joey Bosa. So he ain't going to have to do as much, man. Exactly. Joey, that's a scary tandem. I really like what the Chargers are doing. I think J.C. Jackson's going to thrive. If Derwin James stays healthy, I think J.C. Jackson thrives there. Probably gets another all-pro nod. So I like the Chargers. My biggest loser in free agency, man, I hate to say this because I still think they're going to be good, but it's got to be the Chiefs for me. The Chiefs have had a very lackluster free agency. They lost, Honey Badger. They lost some of those high-energy players. And then you look at what the division's done, and you look at what Denver and the Chargers have done in particular. They're kind of my losers this year.
Yeah. And so remember, Mitchell Trubisky name is Mitchell Joe Montana Trubisky. Remember those fourth quarter comebacks in 2020. So what you got, Maui?
For me, man, I'm gonna keep it short. I feel like it's the Broncos. They got the quarterback, and they stole Gregory from the Cowboys, and that's my winner. It's a couple of teams is when I really want to see. I see Jacksonville spending a bunch of money, but we'll see how everything go from there. But I'm just gonna say the Broncos, and then my biggest loser, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I felt like the Wentz. I like Heineke. You know what I'm saying? I did. I like. I mean, we talked about it last week. I felt like the team love him. I know he has certain physical things that may not make you happy, but I feel like with all these changes and things that the city is going through, I mean, with the team and stuff, I felt like he kept them, you know what I mean? He keeps them focused. They love him. He plays hard, So I feel like I don't know. I don't like Wentz. So I feel like they just kind of like they babysitting for a minute, or something,
Yeah, we could we could tell them how it is. They whiffed. That's what they did. That's what they did.
Yeah. Man. And like you said, just being impatient. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. like I said, I think the winner is obviously. I think, like we talked about it. I think unanimously, the LA Chargers. I think just consider the fact of you look at what Denver's done as far as getting a Russell Wilson, and look, we're gonna show up our defense because we already have one of the best young talents in as far as quarterback wise. So hey, we just need to toughen up our defense. We know now Denver's not a slouch, even though Denver wasn't a slouch, but as far as from a quarterback standpoint, hey, we got to bring in our A game every week. You playing Patrick Mahomes twice, Russell twice, Derek Carr twice. So you gotta kind of shore yourself up and make sure we got guys on defense, that guys can get pressure to the quarterback, and so we won't be in a predicament where our idiot head coach. I don't like to talk about Brandon Taylor like that, but he doesn't have to force to have a timeout to tie the game so he can go to playoffs. So so even though he's not an idiot, but Brandon Taylor, but yeah, but the only thing as far as losing wise, I don't think there's the only thing about as far as a loser per se. I just the simple fact of because it hasn't been any movement thus far. I'm thinking maybe like the Saints and the Falcons because they really haven't done much. I think the Falcons signed young Waco, their kicker. So other than that, that's it. I mean, they really ain't done much. So I give it more to them because they really haven't done much. And obviously they're limited. Those two teams are limited from a salary cap perspective as well too. So.
I have one more just quiet like little sleeper of a winner, and that's the Bengals. The Bengals went out there and signed a bunch of offensive line help, which is going to help Joe Burrow. So I give that to the Bengals too.
What about the Patriots?
They signed Brian Hoyer.
They haven't done much either. Yeah. But the Patriots are weird because like Bill Belichick around this time is just scouting all these guys, So he's gonna want to go out there and he's gonna want to kill that draft.
Yeah, him
he's
and his dog.
Late round gyms.
Yeah, he finds them. Find somebody in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they'll be to your commander's point. Like you guys could have just not gave all that up, for Wentz. You could have kept the pick, or you guys could have just not drafted a quarterback and just signed an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Patriots do. The Patriots just go load up on all these undrafted free agents, and they'll turn into an all-pro in a couple of years.
Oh no, Ricky Seals-Jones is going to the Giants. Oh no.
Oh man.
No, not fair. I'm sorry, it's not fair. Free agency. Oh my gosh, but yeah, and also another sleeper move too. I liked what the Jets did, getting CJ Uzomah. So a lot of, what they're doing, the Jets, I think they made some solid moves as well, just to kind of show up their offense, and and so I look at that as kind of a what they do, and obviously our guys and with the Jets with some Virginia ties. Joe Douglas, the GM, in my backyard in McCainsville, Virginia, he's doing his thing with the Jets, and but yeah, so fellas, let's round out the free agency, fellas. So I'm gonna just go around the horn, Aaron and Tyler. Just final thoughts, and then also plug your plug what's going on with you. We'll go to you first, Aaron. We'll go to you first.
So, man, it's been a crazy free agency. It's like you got to keep your phone on deck 24/7. You don't know what's going on. It's fun, but it's better when your team is doing stuff. But when your team's not doing stuff, you're like, come on, do something. Basically, poking your team with a stick going on. But you can go check out Tacos and Touchdowns on Instagram and Twitter. The Facebook's kind of is acting weird when it comes to StreamYard, so definitely get that worked on. But you can check out my podcast on Podpage, Spotify, Google, Apple, and and all streams. So definitely go check out Tacos Touchdowns. It is all lowercase, and that's all for me.
Yeah, this has been a wild free agency. I can't even recall the last time we've had this many like quarterback movement in general in free agency. So that's wild. I am ready for the draft. But I will say, all I can say is that I am so nervous about this Devontae Adams situation. He is one player I really don't want to get rid of. You can't just sign Aaron and then not bring Devontae back. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that situation. So I'm super nervous about that. But you guys can catch me on the Gauntlet on the Sideline Sports Network Saturday nights at 7 p.m. I also appear on some other basketball shows. The NBA Carousels on Monday nights, hosted by Megan Price at 8 o'clock, and the Sip Off on Thursday nights, hosted by Anthony Brown, Jahan Phillips, and Megan Price as well at 8:15.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, fellas, for coming on and talking some free
I
agency.
got the Billy Hoyle and Sidney Dean on right now.
Oh, nice.
That's clean.
Nice. Yeah. Big time. Yeah, man. Appreciate you, fellas, for coming through and talking some
Yeah,
NBA
man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
We'll catch you catch you around, and like we say, always welcome on Couch Coach Live. You already know what it is.
Appreciate y'all,
ya.
man. Nice
Appreciate it.
All right, fellas. Take care.
All right.
Catch y'all
You too.
later. All right.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah. All right. But yeah. I catch up with you, Aaron. I holler at you.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
All right. So definitely appreciate the fellas for coming on for
Right.
talking a little NFL free agency, and hey,
Mm-hmm.
always ever changing. I definitely thought we was gonna, yesterday I was thinking to myself, okay, we're gonna get, Desean Watson gonna be signed somewhere. He gonna get traded somewhere in the middle of the show. Thought we was gonna break some crucial news, but obviously that didn't come to fray. So
Right.
but definitely great.
He got a lot of seemed like he got a lot of decisions to make, man. I hate to say, I think he better off. I shouldn't say this, but I think he better off probably going to Cleveland because I think he might be a little more safer. I think Atlanta, you know what I mean? A lot of those places like Carolina, he just be, like I think if he played for Atlanta, they may be better, but I just think Cleveland might be better for him, and they ready, you know what I mean? They ready to be a contender,
Yeah, big time. And and that's the thing, because they got a window too. They got we talked about other teams in their windows, talking about like Denver, Buffalo, and like you said, they need they're in a good window as far from a roster perspective. They need to actually like you said, shore up their quarterback position and be amongst the other teams as far as vying for the spot. Because you look at the AFC, now we never kind of put Cincinnati in that. In as far as the conversation, as far as contenders in the AFC, and now you're looking at the simple fact of how now they're a part of the table. Then you look at, especially even in that division where you got, obviously you got Joe Burrow, you got, obviously Lamar Jackson. So and then also, even though, say it jokingly, but you still got, like Mitch Trubisky, who may not necessarily, he might be the fourth best quarterback in his division, but he's still a solid quarterback. I mean, he's definitely an upgrade from Big Ben. That's another thing too, where they, Cleveland really needs to pull that trigger on this deal because, like you said, if their window is really closing, because you just especially if you got rid of a guy like a Baker Mayfield, which you're going to do because obviously, and you hope that decision doesn't bite them in the butt. So you're just hoping that necessarily don't hinder them from from competing. So definitely huge shots out Kenneth checking this out here. So yeah, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah,
you got to look at it too, man. Like that, I think they get Watson. That make you look at the Browns as the number one team in the division. To me,
big time.
You know what I mean? They automatically jump. Like, I hate to say this. You never last year in our division, the Ravens went almost a whole year at number one until the quarterback got hurt. And once he got hurt, you know what I mean? It was open for the Bengals to go. You know what I mean? Like the Steelers came in luckily, you know what I mean? Somebody had to lose. So like they get, you want to be number one. I mean, Do what you got to do. You got to follow. I will follow exactly what the Rams is doing, what the Rams did, and look at what the Broncos is doing. And look at what the Chargers is doing. They like, man, look, we got to do what they got to. That division is lit up for real.
Yeah. So we got we got another special guest in the building. What's going on, DeShaun? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm outstanding. I appreciate you guys for having me on this fine evening. Listen, all of the texting and the tweeting and the woofing and the blowing smoke and them days is done. Like, guys play 4 or 5 months just to get to this point. And now it's like it's finally here. And I know everybody love their football and all that other garbage, all that other nonsense, but it's go time now, So I'm looking forward to it. I'm ear to ear, man. It's March Madness, and I'm all ready to go.
Yes, and we had to bring you in. We know you're the college basketball aficionado. We definitely appreciate you for coming on. Obviously, like we talked about it earlier, was talking about Tate. Like, I want people to say that 3 times. We thought Couch Coach was like a tongue twister, but I think Tate's take by far takes the cake as far as that rhymed. I just realized that. So it takes the cake as far as a tongue twister. But yeah, definitely appreciate you for having you. Like you said, definitely taking time out your busy schedule because it's March. It's March Madness. Right. It's here. It's upon us. So I want to kind of backtrack first before we get into the tournament. Obviously, it was a post that I felt so, to the point where, you posted the other, about Coach K's final game. You were actually in the building. You pretty much, had the hottest ticket in town. Just your thoughts on just the atmosphere of just all that, everything that came into play, obviously the photos that you took of, you, Coach K, and the other guys as well. Just your thoughts on that experience alone. My goodness.
Well, a couple things. First things first, I just got to try and figure out now how I'm going to get my rent paid on the first after that hefty ticket. That's numero uno. Outside of that, I mean, everything that you ever imagine. Like, I'm going to put it out there for you guys. Full transparency. I'm never afraid to do it. I mean, they call me light-skinned. They call light-skinned folks sensitive anyway. So I'm out just go ahead and just channel my inner light skin and sensitivity. Full transparency, full disclosure. I cried in there, so just know I'm putting myself out there for what it is. But that's just, I mean, listen, not so much about the whole Coach K last game thing and all that. Didn't know if I was going to live to be able to go and see that game. Been wanting to go to that arena, man, and see that particular game since I was about 10 years old. I've been blessed to be able to be in a lot of different places, seen a lot of different teams, historical moments. That one even is probably right up there with one of the biggest upsets, not only that I've ever seen live, but ever in college basketball history. And even more so, I guess, just the fact that that's just something I've always wanted to, just check that box on my bucket list. And I'm thankful and grateful that I had an opportunity to do that. It was just so surreal. A lot of times in life we experience things or we think there's things we want.
I think we lost you momentarily. Let's see what we got here.
Okay, my bad. There we go. It just kind of went out on me for a second. You with me?
Yeah, well, we here.
Cool.
We here.
Okay, cool. So there's a lot of things sometimes that we, go through in life and we want to experience and we try so hard and want to do certain things so bad, go certain places. And then we go there and it's not exactly what we always thought that it would be. Like, this isn't that. This is exactly what you thought it was going to be. This is the, 2 hands up, make the free throw. Ooh. Like, this is like the real deal. Like, I'm here. So that experience was awesome, man. But listen, the reality is this. I'm going to put it out there for what it is. I know you said we're going to talk about the tournament in a minute. I'm not wavering from what I said since June 2nd. Those are my champs. Not a fan by any stretch of the imagination. I might be playing the political side a little bit here, but I'm willing to die on that sword. I'm taking them to win the whole thing. And there's only one way that you can make up for what they did in that Carolina game. There's only one way that you can make up for that performance in the conference tournament. And that's to make sure that you're the ones that's standing on the ladder with the scissors in hands and the Big Easy on the 4th of April.
Yeah, and like we said, it's transparency hour as well. I ain't gonna front. I'm a Carolina guy, and I actually watched inside of a bar and with no volume, but just to see all the players and see a former players on the court, you had something was in my eye. I put it that way. Something was in my eye. I ain't gonna front because you think like because we know that's a moment where we're never gonna see a guy stay somewhere for 42 years. We're never gonna see that ever. Now it's just the way of just the way the college basketball landscape is. So I did too. So don't feel too bad. I felt the same way, man.
Yeah, no, I think it was just a little breeze come. I think it was in there cutting up some onions or something. I to think that's probably what was going on. But listen, man, it was a great game. It was a great experience. I mean, just to go in there. I'm the guy that goes in there a little early when not so many people are there, just kind of staring off and looking at the banners, counting the banners, and I forgot about that guy played. Oh, that's that night that he scored. I'm that dude. Yeah. But it's a great experience. That's done and over with. Now I got a chance to see, do something that not a lot of people had a chance. This is not flexing muscles by any means. I'm just really blessed more than anything. But I had an opportunity this year to go to Duke and Carolina at Carolina, and Duke and Carolina at Cameron in the same year. If I would have told you that was gonna happen, if you would have told me that was gonna happen in my life, it's crazy. Slapped you silly, you know what I'm saying? and that right there just has really, made my year already, and really just capping off some things. But still got a lot to look forward to, man. Still going to New Orleans for Final Four, and I'm excited.
Nice. So,
congrats, man.
Yeah. So we all know with the NCAA tournament, we always gonna have some double-digit seeds that's gonna pretty much be the story of the dance. So, in your personal opinion, which double-digit seed is likely to make an Elite Eight or further run?
Let me grab my little handy-dandy notebook. I'm channeling my inner Blues Clues right now. So I'm gonna grab my little handy-dandy notebook real quick. That's a good question. I think there's multiple teams that has a chance. Now, whether you say Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or something, probably not necessarily that far. I do think that a team like a Richmond, who has probably like what feels like a whole starting lineup full of 5th and 6th year seniors, I think that, that's one of them. I'm going to help the people fill out your bracket right about now a little bit, because there's some bits and pieces of the NCAA tournament that I don't think people pay attention to on how to make a successful bracket. You definitely got to be paying attention to those experienced players, those, juniors and seniors and 5th year seniors and things like that. The guard play is always very, very important. Hardly ever see anybody cutting down nets without extremely good guards, which to a lot of people's point, that's probably why they think I'm crazy about Duke, because they don't necessarily have that. Outside of that, you got to have that deep bench. You got to be able to go deep on that bench and play somewhere around 8, 9, close to 10 guys. And a Hall of Fame coaching is always going to be a big part. I mean, listen, you got a team, and I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but we are going to get back to some of the teams. But listen, that's what confuses me. Like, I think that there's 3 teams in this tournament that are the biggest question marks. No identity. I've watched college basketball all season long, haven't missed their games, and I still don't know who the hell they are. That's Alabama, North Carolina, and Memphis. I'm looking at this region in which it is the West region with Gonzaga at the top. They've got a lot. I know everybody's picking them to win their titles. I'm definitely not getting back on that train ever again. I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm never going to do it. You just got to prove me wrong. Gonzaga has a list full of teams that have playing styles in which they struggle with. Last year against Baylor, the tough, rugged, edgy, athletic, getting on the ground, loose balls, creating second chance points, all these different things. We saw it against Duke earlier this year. Well, guess what? Look who's in there with those styles of play. Look who's in that side of the bracket without even looking at the handy-dandy notebook right here. You got Duke again in there. Tech is in there. Alabama, who beat you earlier in the season, is in there. Arkansas is in there. Memphis is in. It's crazy. So Memphis is just that team that if it ever comes to coaching, this kind of goes back into the whole coaching and successful bracket thing. If it ever comes to coaching, I don't know what to make of Memphis. I see you do at the beginning of the year and complaining or telling the truth. It sounds like complaining about having young guys and we're inexperienced. You knew that. You coached this way. You recruited this way, but they got some experienced players too, specifically at guard. And that's what could potentially make them so dangerous. But on the tail end, close to the tail end of the season, they started playing teams in the middle. It started playing better. But those teams, you're supposed to do that against Tulane and Central Florida and everybody except for Houston, which they did sweep in the regular season. With saying all of that, I can't quite tell you that I know exactly who they are. If it ever comes to coaching, I don't know how to feel about Penny Hardaway getting it done. Let me go take you to let me tell you two teams I don't believe in. And they're not about to, you're talking about upsets. 5-12 is the one typically, and I'm sorry I'm getting a little long-winded, but I'm excited, dude. It's March. I apologize. I'm trying to help out the people, give them some free space on the bingo card.
Right.
There's certain things that happen during March that make you really realize March. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you watch some of these teams win their conference tournaments, see us, the way that I feel like as a people, the way the human brain is made up is that we remember so much of what we just saw last. You're going to see these teams winning conference tournaments and doing all this other stuff. And you're going to be like, I haven't watched all season, but I do remember I start watching as it gets closer. And I saw Arizona win the conference tournament, who won the regular season and the conference tournament, who I'm taking out in the second round of Seton Hall, by the way. But even more so, the Iowa winning the conference tournament. I'm not a believer in Iowa. 5-12 matchup, playing up against a very experienced Richmond team who has a lot of those guards and seniors and things of that nature. Okay, there's another one. How about Connecticut? This ain't your high school Connecticut. Like, this ain't that. I'm not the believer. New Mexico State, as good of a program.
I think we lost you again.
Forgive me. The internet service gets excited.
I feel you.
New Mexico State is a very good low major, mid major ish program that not a lot of people pay attention to, and they win very often in the WAC conference. But I say that because I remember 3 years ago now, working on 4. They played in the first round a team that went to the Final Four that season, and they barely lost to that team, and that team was Auburn. If it wasn't for the bonehead play of the guard from New Mexico State at that time, who had a wide open layup, wide open, and instead of laying it up, kicked it out to a guy for 3 who ultimately ended up missing it, we wouldn't be having conversations about Auburn being in the Final Four that year. So much that it is still some of those players that was on that roster that played key contributing positions are still there at New Mexico State. And that's one of the reasons why I do believe, again, that experience for why they're going to drop. I'm going to give you one more because I know you guys might have another question, but I'm just totally I'm just totally like nerding out right now.
He's good, man. He's good.
For an Elite Eight, I don't think there's a ton as far as like for an Elite Eight run. Again, I'm not saying New Mexico State to the Elite Eight. I think if anybody has the best chance just because of the region that they're in, that would be Richmond. Look at this. And this is the reason why I say that. Look at this region in the Midwest. Every time, I'm going to tell you what makes you also realize that it's March. You look at who Kansas got in their bracket, right? Respectfully, Auburn, okay, Iowa, Providence, Wisconsin, a bunch of teams about the same amount of balanced flaws and believability, if you will. But you see Kansas at the top, this blue blood, and you just think they just got the free ride.
Right.
March makes you realize that the ones you think be having the free ride, those are the wackiest and the wonkiest regions.
Right.
And that's just one reason why I say them. And I think that the last one here, I'm not sure that there's necessarily another one. You got some scary ones, but not necessarily Elite Eight. Those are a few.
Yeah, big time. So, in the inverse, any I know we talked about Iowa as far as a lower seed that's on upset alert. Any other team that you look at as far as that are on upset alert this weekend?
Yeah, I've already given you the Arizona.
Yeah.
I feel so so good about that one as I'm at my house watching, sitting on being a couch potato and just watching Selection Sunday the way I do with my whole spread. I got to get the, meat lovers, extra cheese, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I see, the number one seed in the South region, Arizona Wildcats. And I'm like, I've been waiting on this opportunity to please. Like, there was literally games that when Seton Hall was looking good, I was hoping that they would lose, or looking bad and hope that they would win so they could fall right in the 9 spot. And when I saw that, that was the one. I am a person that looks at March Madness in these brackets that I sit back and I wait to say, who is that one game that I'm waiting on, or maybe just when the committee opens up the regions, when they mention this one game, which is the one that I say, that's the one. And that's how I felt about when I heard Seton Hall's name called, and I felt so confident about it, or lack thereof, with Arizona, that I think if Seton Hall loses, TCU can get it done for sure. But the lower seed that I haven't mentioned yet, some of these, I'm not even sure if they're upsets for real.
Yeah.
If USC gets knocked off by Miami, that's not going to be an upset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love, and I'm diehard Sparty, but in order for you to be a diehard fan, you also have to be able to be critical of your team and realistic. It would be an upset if you watch Michigan State play this year and watch Davidson play this year and follow the storyline about Foster Lawyer being a former guard who's transferred now from Michigan State to Davidson and all this other stuff. That wouldn't be a surprise. People just know Michigan State because it's March in that way. I'm going to give you one last one. A lower seed on upset alert. Loyola over Ohio State is not an upset. Colorado State over Michigan is not an upset. Alert. Okay, I got one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
You already went through the Iowa thing. I'm not in love with teams who appear to look so much significantly different when one player is not on the floor, one player is in foul trouble, or whatever, or one player is getting shut down and not being effective. That looks like Keegan Murray in Iowa, but it also looks like Johnny Davis in Wisconsin. They're in their own backyard. Everybody's going to pick them. And they're playing in Milwaukee. But that is March. Like, tell me you guys can't visualize this. I don't want you to close your eyes. I'm just going to totally nerd out for a second. Totally envision this. Johnny Davis doesn't have a good game, or he has a mediocre game, and they're on the verge of losing to Colgate, who has one of the best field goal percentages in college basketball. Just shooting lights out, because that's what mid-major teams do, and they're not afraid of the moment. They went to the tournament last year, played okay. I thought they would have played better, and I thought that would have been an upset when this could clearly be the year. I can totally see the internet going bonkers, like bananas, like all the memes. Y'all got beat by.
He going.
I can see all the memes. Listen, I can see all the memes of Wisconsin in their backyard in Milwaukee, phone blowing up with notifications. Wisconsin has just gotten upset by a toothpaste school called Colgate. I mean, you name it. I can see it. These are things that you have to be able to visualize, and those are the games that make you realize it's March Madness.
Yeah, because Colgate last year, because they didn't beat Arkansas, but did they beat Arkansas?
No, they lost in the first round.
Yes, that's right. But Colgate made somewhat of a weekend run, and I remember people talking about toothpaste last year, yo. So yeah, it's gonna happen.
No doubt.
Yeah. So we talked about some teams. Let's talk about some players that we need to be looking to have our eye on during the tournament as well.
Okay. Kofi Coburn. I like, and I'm gonna mention players. I mean, there's so many on this team. No, you know what? Let's scratch Coburn because I don't like the way his last name is spelled. Go over your head a little bit like an airplane.
No.
I'm gonna go with that same team. I'm gonna go with Trent Frazier. This dude's been there for what feels like forever. He gets to it on both sides of the ball. If they're winning games and go as far as I think they really can go, which is to the Final Four, and I'm picking on my bracket, it's going to be in large part because of him. So he's one name that I'm going to throw out there. I'm not sure if there's too many names that people don't know, but there's definitely some that people should keep their ears and their eyes open for. Two guys on another team, and this is why I think that Texas Tech has been the best team in the country that I've seen persistently and consistently for me. Whether it's win, lose, or draw, they play games very hard. If you don't embrace and love the way Texas Tech plays, then you just couldn't possibly love basketball. But just the way that they play as a team, best team in the country. Kevin O'Banner, who is a player in the front court and transfer from Oral Roberts, if you can remember, went on that run last year with Asmus. Terrence Shannon is another name from Texas Tech, who I love a lot. I mean, I love his game. They get a lot of guys that come through there whose game I just absolutely just have fallen in love with over X amount of years. I think they had another guy a couple years ago or last year, Jamias Ramsey, which is a super dope, awesome name as well. I think AJ Griffin from Duke is something giving me the feel that he's gonna show out a little bit. AJ Griffin, I think is gonna be right there. Has a really good game on him. And let me see if I can throw out just one more name for you guys because there's quite a few guys in here that I do like quite a bit. Gilliard from Richmond. We talked a little bit about Richmond. I'm gonna go with Gilliard a little bit. I'm a big believer in some of those guys and those guards, and between him and Cato in the front court for sure. I might have to scratch Gilliard because he has a lot more help in the backcourt than Cato has in the front court. I'm gonna go with Cato. If they're gonna do what I think they're gonna do to Iowa, he's gonna have to play a big part of it.
Yeah, I'm a UR guy as well. So when you say Jacob Gilliard, I always say the best point guard on this side of the Mason-Dixon line. So big time. I get excited when you talk a little University of Richmond as well. So yeah, with our super seniors.
Yeah, no doubt. No, they're gonna be right there. I've been waiting on them to break through for a couple of years now and haven't quite did it. I think it's about at least this is probably my third year rolling with them, and 3 strikes and you're out with me, but. They've definitely owe me a little bit because You know, I've paid for a couple people's lunches going with Richmond on some games that I really thought that they was gonna pull through and they didn't. So I'm hoping that they can help me out. And I'm a little bit in a dire need for it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you can get the best lunches this next 3 weeks potentially. So we hopefully we can deliver that for you potentially. So I know you said that you had Duke as your national champions. So I want you to round out who was going to be in your Final Four. And we talked about Duke as your champion, but who was the other three that would make the Final Four?
Yeah, I know this ain't gonna be a popular thing to say, and people are like, "What? You can't go on those shows and not give your Final Four." I'm still kind of stuck on it a little bit. Like I'm still working on it. It's not too late because I know we still got till tomorrow, so I got a little bit of a grace period and things like that. But I know I got Duke winning the whole thing, so they're obviously in it. I have Illinois going as well, so that's a 4 seed, a 2 seed, and a 4 seed going. Let me see where else I stand with this thing. Who else did I pick? I mean, I'm so close right there on the borderline between Purdue and Kentucky and almost not really knowing where to go with that. I can see Purdue losing early, getting run up and down the floor. Somebody running up and down the floor on those guys. So I'm not as likely to pick Purdue as I am Kentucky. I'm not sure there's a lot of other teams that can come out of there except for UCLA, but they haven't been giving me good vibes all season. And they got every single last player back from a Final Four last year. I probably like them a little bit more than Purdue, but it's really neck and neck. So I'm going to go with Kentucky on this one. They got more experienced team than Kentucky teams usually do. And I think that's one reason behind why a lot of people aren't going to be picking Kentucky, because they're automatically associating the youth with Kentucky when that's not necessarily the case. But Tie is going to be big. The last one I'm going to go with is, this is the tough one, that Midwest region. I mean, there's so many teams that you can see coming out of there, because I'm not as big of a believer in Kansas as a lot of people claim to be. I think that there's legit 3 teams that's coming out of there. I think Auburn has a good chance, but it depends on how things shake out. Like if it's USC who knocks off Miami and they play Auburn in the next round, I'm picking Auburn. If Miami beats USC, I'm picking Miami, and that's where I'm going at in my bracket. So I got them knocking off Auburn, which ultimately one of these 3 teams I feel the most about going, which is Miami as a 10 seed, Providence as a 4 seed, and Richmond as a 5 seed. I feel the most confident about Providence right now, but I'm really starting to feel like that's going to change probably over to Miami sooner than later. But those other 3 teams I think have the best, not necessarily the best chance, but that I believe in the most of getting there.
Yo, and I feel you on that one, because a part of me, obviously I do one bracket, but I look at this bracket now and I be thinking to myself, it's like, oh my gosh, like, am I jumping out the window with this, like with mine? But it's like, hey, but that's the beauty about March. This bracket here, physical bracket on Wednesday, I'll rip it up by Friday night. I mean, but that's the beauty of it. That's why it's called March Madness.
Yeah, let me tell you something about what the beauty of it is, and people don't know how to embrace it. It stresses you the hell out. It's anxiety. I love this much about March Madness is that, I don't know, I might let the dog pick it. I don't know. But you have an upset in the making right in front of your face.
Oh, yep.
What's the first thing you do? You crumble up this bracket. This damn bracket. I don't need this. People keep calling me and this and that. I'm on the air. Leave me alone. I'm giving the people what they need to hear. You see a upset in the making. You crumble up the bracket because you didn't have that team. You throw it in the wastebasket. And as you're watching the games, oh yeah, I had that team. I had that team on my. Oh, I had that one too. I actually might have some faith. Like I might actually still be living thought the game that was going to bust you up, it wasn't even that one. It's this one coming later tonight. It's going to go to just show it's possible to anybody to have a perfect bracket at that point. And then that's when you can really get into the meat and potatoes and the nuts and bolts. You can light it on fire, rip it up, do whatever you want to do, go in the fridge, crack you open something cold beverage to drink, preferably dark, and then kick your heels up and watch it for what it really is. March.
It's madness.
Nothing's better than that. Y'all can have the football. Nothing better than that anxiety right there.
I'm a football guy. I love like you said, but we just talk like it's funny because football this time period it's more optimism. Like you look at okay, my team is gonna be good because of free agent, whatever. But this, like you said, when it comes to March, it's like the anxiety. Like it's like you said, the games that they're playing and the environments that you're in. Like that's the beautiful thing about it. It's like I can remember. I remember when Eric Maynard hit that shot against Duke. And I was in like at a bar, and and I'm in Richmond. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. So VCU, that's a VCU town. That's why I like Richmond because we like the LA Clippers of Richmond. Like as far as like we're the second class citizen in the state in the city. So when he hit that shot and then the VCU run, you just think about just all that and just the happiness that it brought to the city, just being around and in those games. So like you said, it just and it to me, it's like. I'm gonna wax poetically for just a brief second. It's the NCAA tournament is like I put it like this: it's better to have loved to have never loved at all. To get to this dance, it's special. It's special. Especially like I look at like Richmond. Obviously, like we said, they're another team. Like you said, it's easy to give up on them. Obviously, the way their season has been, heartbreaking losses, but then end up picking it up in the tournament. Last year was a disappointing season. We definitely thought they were going to make it, especially after the 2020 year that they had, as far as, being one of the top seeds in the A-10. And then obviously COVID hit. And then now, they're now kind of coming to fray. But, those are things where, like you said, these stories. And then we always talk about senior latent teams, with eons of experience always succeeds. And then now you look at that with a transfer portal. Now it's like guys, like you said, like a perfect example, like you said, Kentucky. Kentucky's the team that you always think, oh, they just got a bunch of 18, 19-year-old McDonald's All-Americans. No, they actually got a somewhat of a veteran kind of lineup. So that's the thing. Like you said, that is the beauty of this tournament. And like you said, don't stress out. Hey, you in the dance. It's okay,
Enjoy it for what it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, kick back, cold drink, whatever you prefer, and just enjoy the tournament. But yeah, man, definitely appreciate you for coming on. Always, definitely was a pleasure talking with you. And plug away. Then also, what you got going on? Was that 11:15? If my memory serves correct, right? 11:15 tonight. Where they can check you out tonight?
11:30 tonight
11:30
on CBS Sports Network. I'm with my dude JR Sport Brief. Call him JR Sport Brief. So I'm gonna be on with him tonight. All of the info you can find out on how to listen tonight at 11:30. We're gonna help some more people get their rent paid because I know folks want to win those office pools and so forth. Just make sure you take care of your boy on the back end. But no, seriously, we're gonna throw out a couple freebies like that, and that's gonna be on CBS Sports Network tonight at 11:30. And just go and follow the show, man, the podcast. We like to call it the best, the most informative, the most informational, and the most educational basketball content on the planet in the form of a podcast. It's called Tate's Take. Find it anywhere you find your favorite podcast. That's iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, just about anywhere that you can find shows and podcasts and so forth. And we always tell people, tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell your baby mama where they can go and find that information at. That's Tate's Take. And you guys just keep doing a phenomenal job. As people, you never know who's watching. I see some of the stuff that you guys are putting out there, and it's just good to see, that people are in this realm, and people that look like you, people that don't look like you, you know, the whole nine. So just embrace it and just you know, just keep grinding away, and I can appreciate what you guys are standing for with your show. And just go follow Tate's Take Hoops on Twitter, TATESTAKEHOOPS. We call it #WhereBasketballLives.
Yeah, man. And once again, I appreciate you for taking time out your busy schedule for for coming on the pod. Definitely appreciate it. And like I said, man, keep having those poses, man. That Duke, you going to Cameron was so inspirational, bro. I'm gonna tell you, that was it. I wouldn't say it might have been a little dust in the air, but yeah, it was, like you said, seeing your work. I've always, seen what you've done. I was like, you're the perfect person to come on our podcast to talk college basketball. It's, like we said, it's a love of this. I know, like me, I love all kinds of sports. And also, definitely with the tournament, I love the tournament just equally as well. So, found the perfect person to, preview the tournament and actually get me more excited, even to talk about the tournament. And I don't know how I'm gonna stay focused tomorrow at work, so I'm just gonna put it that way. And so it's just, but definitely, man. Once again, man, appreciate you so much for coming on, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I don't know if you're trying to make me cry more than I did at the game right now or what, but listen, I appreciate you guys for having me on. I appreciate you guys for having me on, and I think we're just going to start a petition. You know what? Just stay at home tomorrow. Tell the boss when they want to know why you ain't make it in. Tell them this is asinine. This should be a holiday. The same way that it is all the other ones is very, very important. March Madness. There are no words to describe what is about to transpire within the next 24 hours for the next 3 weeks or so. So I appreciate you guys for having me on, and looking forward to doing it again next time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you,
it, man. I'll talk with you, man. Thanks. All right, take care.
No problem.
All right. Yeah, man.
Definitely
Definitely
stole the show.
Yeah,
stole
man.
the show.
Yeah,
that's great, man. He
definitely
helped me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely great show. And like I said, I always looked at DeShaun as a guy like I really wanted to have on the show. So very thankful for the opportunity. I reached out to him a few weeks ago, and he, we worked out a great time to come on. Definitely appreciate him. Obviously, like we said, he has, busy schedule. He's doing his thing, and he took the time out for, for us. Definitely appreciate him. So with that being said, man, we got to put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live. We call this episode Double the Madness. Obviously, there was a reason why we call it Double the Madness.
Before you say that, I got a quick question. Who is your Final Four?
So I have Arizona. Okay, I'm gonna go from bracket. So I got Gonzaga, Kentucky, Arizona, and Auburn. And I got Richmond going to the Elite Eight.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got UCLA, Gonzaga. Oh man. I can't remember. I think it's I got Kentucky. I can't remember. Damn. Thought I wrote them down. I was freestyling. But I got UCLA winning the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, I got Arizona winning it all. So
Arizona. My bad. Arizona, Kansas, UCLA, and Gonzaga. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I definitely got another great show. Before we head on out, any final words, social media plug, what you got?
Man, DeShaun Morgan, Facebook, DT Morgan 78 Instagram. Great show. Very entertaining. Show you everybody on the platform have great great insight, information based upon what's going on. And shout out to the guest, shout out to you. Congratulations to DeShaun and all the, everything that he went through. 2 games, man. He went to twice. Wow.
And going to NOLA at the end at the beginning of the month for the Final Four. Wow. So Hey
Wow.
man, yeah, that's great. Like you said, a lot of yeah. So final thoughts, man. First, before we end the show, definitely got to give a huge shout out to Highland Springs, Verona, and John Marshall for winning their state championships. Definitely huge shout out
Right.
to those fellas. The East End, don't sleep on the East End. The East End got talent. The 804, we got talent. The East End is about to have the game on lock on basketball and football. We coming for you. The worst thing they could have done was put Verona and Highland Springs in different classes. Because all we're gonna do is we're gonna run it up in the East End. So y'all been warned, Virginia, the state of Virginia. Then also definitely huge shout out to and Tyler chimed in with his final 4 picks: Zona, Texas Tech, Wisconsin, and Kentucky. Definitely appreciate Tyler and Aaron for coming on, talking about NFL free agency. We had a great time with those fellas. Definitely check out those guys out. And then also, definitely huge shout out to DeShaun Tate, aka Tate. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, that's a tongue twister. Bad pause. But yeah. So follow the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Couch Coach Live. Follow us on social media. Definitely check out our Twitter page as well. YouTube, all of that is there. But yeah, man, another great show. Definitely appreciate everybody for coming on tonight. What a fantastic show. As we named it, Double the Madness. So you can check out that episode. We'll probably release that first thing tomorrow morning. So that anyway you get your podcast, we'll have it in time for you for the morning drive, whatever you're doing on the on a Thursday night. I mean Thursday morning. We'll have that for you up and ready for you. But yeah, man, another great show. Definitely appreciate you, Mal, for coming on once again. We here again. We already here. Yeah. So that being said, man, this has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We will catch you guys next week, and we're out.
You're welcome.